Hi friends, welcome to Creative DIY Purpose. Today I have some beautiful thrifted finds for you and a few upcycle projects. And our first thrifted item is this white basket. I purchased it for $1 at a yard sale, and I'd like something with a little bit more of an autumn feel. So I made up this concoction, and it is part water, Waverly antiquing wax, and 2 little squirts of that dark green acrylic paint. And I'm hoping that's going to take out the red tint that sometimes the antiquing wax gives off. So I'm slathering it on with a chip brush, trying to get down inside of all of those cracks. I did apply 2 coats and wiping it back each time. And I think it gave it just enough of an aged look that's perfect for autumn. Friends, if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to hit the like and share button. And thank you for helping my channel grow. So for this next thrifted item, I purchased this vintage oil can for $1 at a yard sale. It does not have any odor inside. Can anyone tell me what type of oil did they keep in these oil cans? I think this piece has such character to it, and I love the design, and it just looks like a piece that has a story behind it. I found this vintage purse at the same yard sale where I got the oil can. And it does have a damaged spot in the front where it was glued. And it's hard to tell in the lighting here, but it almost looks plastic. And I kind of wanted to darken it up a little bit and get rid of the plasticky look. The inside is completely lined with vinyl. I'm applying a coat of watered down antique wax throughout the outside of the entire piece. This did take me a little bit of time because I want to make sure that I was careful not to apply too much. I also ended up taking this project outside and allowing it to dry after I wiped the wax back. The overall change, I think, is very subtle, but I believe that it took out that plastic look. And I think it makes a beautiful wall pocket, some dried or faux flowers, and a vintage handkerchief. I love this next piece. It's a vintage brass catchpot, and I think that it is beautiful as a candle holder, and of course with a potted plant tucked inside. So for thrifted item number 5 was a scroll piece. I believe I picked it up for 50 cents. At first I thought it was wood the way it was stained, but once I took it home and looked at it closer, I think it's a very thick piece of plastic. So I used the multi-surface paint from Folk Art. And that stuff works really, really well. I applied 2 coats, and I'm sorry my camera's moving here. I was holding the camera and applying that antique wax and wiping it back. And all right, so I brought the piece back inside and continued to wipe back that wax. For the smaller areas, I then took a Q-tip and tried to pull out as much wax as I could. Our next project is taking these thrifted photo frames and turning them into beautiful home decor for fall. I took the backing and the glass out of each piece, applied 1 coat of that Folk Art multi-surface paint, and on this particular frame, because it was metal, I did end up wiping the paint back to bring out some of the beautiful details in the frame. I had a scrap piece of muslin fabric, and on it I traced around the frame and then cut the piece of fabric out. Then I applied the fabric onto the back of the frame by applying hot glue all around the edges of the frame. And then I took the handle off of a paper bag, cut that down, and hot glued it because that's going to be the stem for our pumpkin. And then I put the frame with the glass onto the backing and took that paper stem and opened it up, kind of unraveled it. Then taking my hot glue gun, I applied this flower onto the glass and the bottom of the frame. I then took some vintage lace, hot glued that along the top of the stem so that it kind of looked like leaves. Then I tied on a piece of lace that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. Grabbing my box of vintage buttons from my childhood, I went ahead, found one that I thought was perfect, and applied that on with some hot glue as well. And then moving along to the smaller frames, I did the same first few steps. I took a small scrap of that vintage lace and glued it onto the glass. Then found a few more vintage buttons and glued them on, thinking that the lace kind of looked like the stem and that the buttons were a pumpkin. And then for the third little picture frame, cut the lace out to look like a little pumpkin. Friends, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this bonus video. Have a super blessed week, and I'll meet you back here on Sunday.